Hello, I am Jay, and this is Relax with Jay. I create calming videos that allow you to relax and or drift off to sleep. If you enjoy my videos and find them helpful, please hit the like button, subscribe, and click on the notification bell. I hope you enjoy this video and may it bring you restful sleep. Tonight, I'll be reading the second part of the first chapter of the book called Book 1 of the People by Brand Whitlock. If you enjoyed this chapter and would like me to read more, please let me know. But the band had swung into the middle of the street. The drum major, in his high-knot bearskin and tall leggings, was facing them, in his baton held horizontally before him in his two hands. He blew the shrill whistle, clenched in his teeth, and then, wheeling, pointed up of Kaskaskia Street and strode away for the public square. The leader thrilled two little notes on his cornet, and snare drum rattled a long roll, and the band burst into "See the Conquering Hero Comes." The carriage moved, the crowd cheered again, and the little progression began his triumphal entry for him. "Look, my Jerry," advised Rankin, in humorous appreciation of the whole demonstration. The remark did not exactly please Gerwood, and for an instant he did not look mad, but he smiled again and composed his features too for the dignity of the hour required in him. Some of the private carriage followed in his train, and the crowd steamed along the sidewalk of each side of the street. A number of small boys shrugged in the deep white dust, mingled with band or crowded after Gerwood's carriage, breaking into a trot now and then in their determination to keep up with progression. Two or three of them, in order to identify themselves more closely with the affair, laid their dirty little hands on the panels of the carriage. Gary felt an inward resentment at this, and when Rankin rolled over in his seat and snatched the cap from the matted head of the one boys, and the crowd on the sidewalk laughed uprisingly, Gerwood felt like rebuking him. He had a moral conviction that at least two other boys were singing on the spring behind the carriage, and he would have liked to dislodge them, but he knew he dared not. In the last 10 minutes, imperial ambition had stirred within him. He began already to dream of triumphant marches and wider scenes, with troops or at least policemen lining the curb, and yet his politician sense reminded him of the quickness with which American voters resent any little assumption of undemocratic airs. However much they may like it on a larger scale, and so when Rankin, to appease the frightened lad loose cap he had snatched, took the youngster by the collar and dragged him into the carriage, Gerwood felt it would be better to laugh with him and with the crowd. The progression turned into Main Street, and so on down to the square, with its old brown courthouse and its monument inscribed to the shoulders and the sailors of Polk County. Though Polk County had never had any sailors, the progression ended at the Castle House. Though why would hardly be told, Gerwood did not live there, but all procession of that kind in Grand Prairie end at the Castle House. The band stopped in front of the hotel, and the musicians seized off their caps, mopped their bows, and looked around toward Rankin furtively, thinking of beer, but Rankin, again swinging his dangerous little bag, was making a way through the crowd toward the wild door. Gerwood was almost lifted from his carriage and felt himself helplessly swept into the hotel office on the great human baker and rolled in that way. When his feet touched the floor again, the loud crowd went up. Speech, speech. Rankin turned toward him. "You'll have to give it to him, Jerry, before they'll let you go." And he led the way up the stairs toward the parlor. Gerwood went after him with the mayor and a self-appointed committee following, and in another minute he had stepped out on the balcony and bared his head to the breeze that was blowing warm off the prairie. As he stood there, erect and calm, with the little wind loosening the locks over his forehead, his lips compressed, and white his round arms with breast of the coat, after the fashion of all our orators, many in the crowd for the first time were conscious of how like a congressman this young fellow really looked. They began to celebrate discovery by another cheer, but Gerwood drew his hand from the bosom of his coat and raised it towards them. Instantly a warning shh ran through the whole concourse, and few wagons rattling by halted suddenly, and a hush fell. Gerwood's eyes swept the old familiar square. His face flushed, his heart beat high, but outwardly he was calm as he effected the impressive pause that adds so much to oratory, and then he began with steady simplicity. "My friends," he said, in a voice that seemed low, but which carried, in the evening air across the square, "and fellow citizens, I am profoundly touched by this welcome. Words are inadequate to express fittingly how much it would mean to me. For 30 years I have gone in and out among you, as a boy and as a man, and has always seemed to me that the highest honor I could achieve in life would be found in your respect, your confidence, if possible, your love. Your wishes and your welfare have ever been my first and highest thoughts. I know not what responsibilities may await me in the future, but whether they be small and light or great and heavy, still my wish and purpose shall remain the same, to serve you, you well and faithfully, and whatever they may be, I know that nothing can ever bring to my heart the deep gratitude or fill me with the sweet satisfaction this magnificent welcome affords. You must not expect a speech from me this evening. At a later day, and at some more convenient and appropriate season, I shall address you upon the issues of the approaching campaign, but I would not, even I were physically able to do so, intrude partisan consideration upon you in this hour. But I can not let you go away without the assurance that I am deeply sensible of the great honor you do me. With a sincerity wholly unfringed, I thank you for it. May God bless you all. May you prosper in your basket and your store. And the speaker's eye wandered far away to the ragged edges of the crowd. Thank you again and again. I bid you good night. A cheer promptly arose, and Gerwood bowed himself backwards through the window. Rankin, standing near him, laid his hand on the shoulder of the mayor. "John," he said to that executive, "he'll do." Then the handshaking and the congratulations began again. Gerwood stood there, at times passing over his brow the handkerchief he held in his left hand, while he gave to the man who passed by him a right hand that was red and swollen and beginning to itch, and outside the crowd feeling when its American passion for speech-making was satisfied, that it had had its due, went away, leaving the square deserted.